FM.
Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
Ora bright appear ewa ha anope. Open you imagine.
Yeah, papa me, Jozo.
You who watch it?
Pa, me na me who watch it. Me
Me deja me behind tea. Obati me nkara. Apomwe.
Nyame adom.
Great. Ora KUSIBOAFO, you see your public sector reforms. Open I just say
what they are doing in here.
Yegusu. Minnie Kani Ora Bright appear and start nutrition como executive director Child Rights International. Na yenya celebration of World Child Labor Day. Mun semni be a rem say out of every 10 children in Ghana. 1 out of every 10 children in Ghana is engaged in the worst form of child labor. Child Rights International to monitor child labor in cocoa growing communities. Some come here to say.
Braka me da say wa ma me kwanye.
Yes, yeah, that's so nya adaje.
Peace FM.
Make sure we for the management of Peace FM.
Yeah, Joseph.
And every year you do Child Labor Day on the 12th of June.
Okay. So that was Saturday. And on the global platform, most of the countries agreed. See that cross to her. The nyama fa enkora ho adwumayem ene omo empom and how best anya ebetimi aso ano. Now Ghana is one of the countries I are signing up to this celebration, and I said the whole issue of child labor and our child workers in Sanya man. And you know, it is a commitment I every day we are buying a this a day no. Now, in most cases, you know, this a day now, it's more like say you take stock of achievement a buying a year so far, no, and then the commitment, you know, how government is also responding to it. And one of the areas the child labor in the cocoa sector, because some time ago, even under President Kufuor, was an issue here by London. The global stage, you know, taking it serious. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, see it me too, and I'm on near reduce child labor in the cocoa sector because of how rich your cocoa need you know. It is important, say your best. I buy to Anamopi. Na me kai pass in 2007, 2008 more no. Honorable the then Minister of Employment. As I say, I'm so very finishing kakra. Braka only telling come up akomia. Oh, Nana Akomia.
And the current chief of staff now Omonana they developed what we call the child labor monitoring system for Ghana as a means of also reducing child labor in the cocoa sector. And to report P by Oshe international reporter by Nina and I so reporter by Ankasa who nyama ekoso cocoa sector no omutu anamo omo committee sikakra to it buying a committee through Ghana Cocoa Board to deal with some of these issues and all that. And clearly no as of my no ye two anamo for certain areas are efa enkwara ho. Now one of the things Meka say yet me here was the development of the child labor monitoring system no. But ebedu baby no aban entimi antwasubio msa aban bibia ma cocoa board and handle, but at the point no system no became dormant kakra. But buy no ne your partners are omo eto cocoa fi Ghana no ye kan yeti bomu say no, we have to pick the system again na yenhwe how ebetimi I yield the results amaye enti the system no ye adwuma in 2017. And to share community so far, your western region, western north, Ashanti region, Ahafo. Those are the main growing cocoa areas. Into your implemented system in over 1,070 communities. Those enclave. Now your collected data. Now as we speak, no data our farmer households, those communities. It's almost about 192,000. Household members now registered, and also what community no na ejuma enkora eye wo mu no, you are able to know and then determine the kind of action I'll be to me take.
Yeah.
Into that system no boy until every year report to government say this is what we've been able to do, so that government can also use the report normal publishing at the international level and all that. Into abua na one of the things I mean if say system yet me aya my no say for as we speak no, the cocoa growing communities no, the enrollment rate of Ankara in those areas no, it has increased from 80-something% to now no, Ankara more cocoa growing areas now about 94 to 98% of them are in school.
Okay.
And no, once you are able to have a system and monitor Sanyamana, it may bois to result in some of the Nyama enrollment.
Ain't cocoa growing areas is in Kokrokoo school.
Kokrokoo school pa,
Okay.
and the Kokrokoo school, and the records are there to show say about 94 to 98% of Ankara eco school or cocoa growing communities. And now completion rate now it was below 50%. But as I say, completion rate of Ankara more cocoa growing communities is almost hitting about 80%.
What has contributed to it?
It is because of the system. The system. They are in different parts. The first part, you say, setting up community-based structures. A binum friend or a child labor monitoring committees. A binum so or other names or man. So what they basically do is that almost share the current state of the community, so that if there is any new entry into the community, they monitor. Because one of the things I say in cocoa growing areas, a do season now, and crofo enough, eba beye juma into omode omoma, and as a binu kra eden koraba beye juma. So they are able to monitor say new Akorabia ba community numan and say ejuma be no ye. And as a follow-up, so they are able to know all these people, and then say a foot will be a homo de bema for now. No, my Nyomuntimino, no more their command, the district assemblies, no more so are handle. Now, one of the things that the system insists in is a Kokrokoo school. Indeed, there's a compelling a you almost to say a Kokrokoo school. Indeed, do Dwana Eddie and Kokrokoo Eco school any idea. Indeed, that is what I accounted for. There's an increase in terms of the right to education, because one of the indicators are MEM measure child labor situation in Ghana, education, health, and economic activities. And OSHA education is saying across that areas, you will see say at least there is some level of achievement. And Koranswa Sabio Omufa Haumu Yarene Sanyaman and also a swati. Say be a korabe ko fum na dadia kwako chano anase owa kwako kana sanya mani nyina no eso ate enye sa area ho kra na eye adwuma minim say the rate at which owo kan kora no edoso pa, but because of some of this intervention abuama sanya mani nyina ate na o share strategy report na 1 out of every 10 children is involved engaging this is worst forms of child labor. Because we share.
Yeah, can say worst forms of child labor. What exactly are we talking about?
What it means is that your Kokrokoo a juma or moye no, it cause harm to them. Say bia obi eye juma ewofie. Na say bia domestic work. Ebia korani ye juma exceeding a certain hours, because omamu hano say udi below the age of 15 years ultimately ye juma above a certain hours. 4 hours and it says and once you are able to exceed that, the indicator will pick you say you are involved in child labor. And the reason why that hour is you're stating is encourage to do now more domestic activities. One of the critical things they have is omunya na ena obi akrano obe koda be 11 obe sorry be 3 o'clock or say be juma. And once you are able to do that, you will say you are in a worst form of the same child labor. Obinsu wa sabio omaimu ha korebia no obetime ye adwuma above 8 o'clock 8 p.m. Say adwuma bi akora ye bia no by 8 p.m. no esa akora na den ojai. If you exceed that na adwuma na wo ye no so na ye adwuma de a emboa wo ma wonsua de a, then it will also be classified as the worst forms of child labor. And within that, there was another indicator your friend hazardous conditions. In Tibia, Sakorani ye Juma war Kokrokoo, na say usa na omo ye spraying na the chemical effect no na akwaraa no would also describe say as at that time no omo spray a fool no sakwaraa ni gina ho na onye adwuma bi akra but the mere fact say chemical no would have effect on akwaraa health no we will classify that environment as hazardous for akwaraa no. Therefore, the data will pick the Akrano is involved.
Me say, baby, how realistic is Sanya maybe? And the son say, every before, Ghana for. So, mame, a 20 would you ma, but 20 ni bi.
Yeah, no cray.
Oh, papa, away for, I'll be for. Whatever it is, parents, you know.
Yeah.
Ni baby or baby, in Tinkola, a year drove fee. Enkola tombu fruit ebia tombu do adwuma omama no ma na papa no moye ebi o ho ayi ohia na this anyoma we nyina aba enti moye sa mo reporti. Do you consider Brody Becker the cultural context of that environment? Mo hwe senior motie brabo musika sem enti the man ba na sa no because all the obi standards world global rankings ne mo barometer na mo de hwe ebia ma kwala oti UK because ebia the context they are different na kwala oti Ghana and Nigeria. How do you look at it? Mo hear say anything.
I think we reconcile all these things because even the indicators now you measure Charlie Banokrano and it's not a foreign Ghana and Kasan you developing. So it means we took into consideration the cultural context. And I want to also place on record say Abain Kase Abema Caribbean Yejuma.
Okay.
Because definitely the condition of your they say the state of your family would even determine Nyama also bet me because Omame Elkwefuma, there's no way I'll bet me also unti unkwefum nibi. But what the state is requiring us to do is there are ages or how Abain say the ejuma bi wa akra betimi aye bi so ontimi nye. So for instance, Abain Ashemra say below the age of 15 years no, ejuma akra no ye no should be described as light work. Light work ni say akra ye ejuma din bia sabio edi how be bre akra no ne edi how be bre ni body no. Indi say bia okọ ono ma me kwafum na say bia o sensuo amano their water idea. I don't think say in the eyes of the law no it will have effect on akorano. But where ebia o fumuna u spray chemicals because the condition of using chemicals no enkorani bi on health grounds no chemicals no be use u fumu okran is not good for enkorano because it affect their growth their development in sani manina. When the child is present at that moment now it requires immediately the steps I say I will take some withdraw akorana fiho and sign on my spraying and I say omo ye pruning and as omo ye nyama nkitinkiti bia it should not be harmful to akorana, but once it becomes harmful to akorana there it will capture akorana. So it's just a matter of form. Say bia ye were form near ye juma near num say enkora wo ho. There are certain steps I see it me take, but that does not mean say so ko fuma memfa akorano enye den enko. But the condition that exists in the environment now ebe harmful to akorano and non aban say we should try as much as possible to get akorano out of that environment so that we can carry on with your own activities. That is basically the issue.
Obi Sam baby say it may seem light, but let me ask. And kwala edi omo advert child labor.
Ebi omo child labor. And
how do you tell the child labor?
Child labor, because one of the indicators to measure, there are three broad indicators that measure child labor. The first one is a Juma Kranobe should not deny the child the right to education. And secondly, it should not have a health implication on Akorano. And then the last one is a child should not be economically gainful to a system or a family. It is so, for instance, if Oya Adverter in our legislation is considered as a capacity building for Akorano. Because a idea akorano ya sabi onyino de ejuma to be beneficial to akorano, but sakorano shano ya advert whatever proceed that comes, it should not be beneficial to anybody, but should be beneficial to akorano. So for instance, let's assume say be obi aba Peace FM so the akoraba be advert. One of the conditions I said Peace FM should be able to act now for say what is the contractual agreement between company now oil advert between Ononia Korano and then what are the proceeds are eba Korano. If the proceeds na eba Korano the parent would invest it into the life of Akorana, then it is deemed as a capacity building. But where me Akorana adverts, na me change na me jid sikano, na me midi that you become economically gainful to the person.
That's exploitation.
That becomes exploitation. And no, I'm not say it is a but because also most of Akorana adverts now, you if you ask for contract agreement, unya because you can't monitor. Who they were sikano more day until once that happens it becomes exploitative and will be deemed to be child labor. So that is the condition under which yeah can say more than Korea advert we have to pursue them. Any more talented shows at the end of the day they gain award for the purpose of participating in that as to me we have to make them render account for what they have used the money for in relation to Nkorano. If they can prove, say, Sikano Omenyano, it is for the welfare of Akorano, they have invested into the life of a child. I know, yeah, one of the things it can exonerate you, but say one kasa who ode sang kwandie, ehomba sama emrani ubeti media manaye.
Dr. Sylvester Chejemfi says, domestic child workers are last to sleep and first to wake up and continue the cycle of labor. Yeah. Best regards to Bright APPIAH in your studio. I don't know if you know Dr. Sylvester Chejemfi, or Ministry of Gender.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, Nana Fredia says, BBC highlighted Ghana's situation on the Volta Lake regarding child slavery and labor. Very sad for our children, our people, and the image of Ghana. BBC showed this on Saturday night. There's one here from Dr. Kokrokoo of the Electoral Commission. I'll say, Kwame, then I have been abused because you can imagine me growing up as a son of illiterate cocoa farmers. I see them as orientation that has made me what I am today. I did all those things he's talking about, and I don't regret doing them. So it comes back to Asemna Mekai. Say your parents, for example, Kokrokoo. Say Waboni PhD or a director of elections or electoral commissions. So your penny or Ghana. But he grew up, as he said, the parents are illiterate cocoa farmers. At that point, and Sukrit Safo Semen Kancho say it is not child labor. Even in America, there are child actors. It is per the contract and the use of the investment. Well, Sukrit, that's exactly what Bright said.
That's my point.
Yes, Sukrit, that's exactly what Bright APPIAH said. It depends on Namode. Right now, can be account. Bright, you're going to add something when I rudely interrupted my messages.
Na me ka say Dr. Srebo niti ye pa say offers how more we pay because we tie general mosquito sometimes we go have to do the interview. I don't can say those days no or palm wine tap out there but nem fefo a oni omo ye palm wine tap ani nyina no onu baby a omo banyame adom no etimi enya kwan ko school. That's what exactly is happening to Sankwara no. Utiye na odidi mu a ene de obey, but a majority of them, research are confirming say a majority of children who go through child labor no, at the tender age, omudu time the state require their strength to work between 25 to 35, they become weak. So they are not productive to the development of this country. And it is important, say, we'll look at it from the broader point of view. From individual point of view, work for moon and yankupa yawadum and waiting me APPIAH. But there's a number of people who have gone through that process now, and they are nowhere to be found. But if you give them a broader opportunity, and by this time they'll be productive.
Maybe be peculiar to our situation in Ghana. Yet, so these are the problems. Tisenia Nana Fridiaka said BBC showed it. But what is the solution? At the end, or see it may fast solve our problem. Ibiaka said education is the only way. But Ubia or Volta Lake no so. Ne nana ye fisherman, ne papa ye fisherman, ne wafa ye fisherman, ne big brothers ye fisherman, ne maame echinam kabenkuton ana dokono You know that kind of environment.
Exactly.
It is Akwalano. That is the structure about to Hamano. How do you resolve that?
You see, the fishing sector is a very dangerous area when it comes to child labor. And the main company agro.
Yeah.
One of the areas you need a very comprehensive program and education to be able to solve it. Because the way of it will be very difficult to even detect to say, this particular child is involved in child labor. And it is because it exists in the family system, it is so difficult. And then they have to admit, if we really want to deal with child labor in the fishing sector, we will need more approach like what we are doing in the Galamsey area to be able to deal with it. That is what I would say in relation to that. Because the kind of area I say cartel, I say the whole community can agree to do this. Until we are never resolve that issue. I will never find anybody to tell me what is happening. Unless you say, where you use another means of getting the information and all that.
But you see, bro, for me, say you're going to resolve. Just so you see, no. Sakwala, no, they no way. Because you say your social welfare system of Ghana is almost non-existent. And they're no way. Inti Sakwala, no, they no way. What did they school? At the end of the day, I come back to the parents now, and they have no livelihood and no option than to let him go fishing and now go farming. What's the solution? So
you see, sometimes when it comes to that, it's a bit difficult because the social safety net, is not that strong.
Yes.
To say, you identify a particular household that their income level is below a certain threshold. As me provided some kind of a lip services so that to take the whole family out of the situation. Nanka, you redefine the environment it makes it a bit difficult to deal with that. Once you are able to deal with economic activities around the family, there's a tendency that you can withdraw from the saying trafficking. But it's one of the situations as of mine, we need to also begin to look at our social safety net. Because most of our social interventions, since President Kufuor time based there, about 80% of our social intervention target Nkora. So if you have such a social intervention targeting Nkora at such magnitude, the last time I who reports, not just said, are spending almost a billion on social interventions this year. So it should tell you, we are pumping a lot of money into social interventions. We should also be interested in building our social safety net. See, I'm building the social safety net, all these investments are buying your crown. You can't even quantify. You can't even quantify it to say, 1 billion media share. These are the profit man, and I say these are the social issues that ATMI addressing. Because as we speak now, most of the interventions are buying ATMI a year. We are unable to account for its dividend in terms of in this particular area. This is what we've been able to resolve and all that. Building a social safety net, is very, very important. But that notwithstanding, the little that we can do to save Yankora, I think we should continue to do it. Now, one of the issues the awareness, the knowledge of community members, it's very serious. Because sometimes you could see, nipe idea or ye or person de boane bano. But the kwa onam so or the yes idea. The how mume bre akorano, but in her mind or his mind, if he's or yeah, dia boa akorano. Into all these things must also add up to make sure we build a strong social safety net. Ebetimi aboa, send ye take steps. Ebe boa enkwara. Ye timia take steps ebetimi aboa. Na eba policies munso kra. O share ye Beggars and Destitute Act na. It even gives the authority to minister in charge of social welfare to every year submit the plan to the same parliament for approval in terms of budget allocations and all that. But over the years, me who minister be our bahwa, wetimi akase this is my plan to deal with the social sector in terms of issues hankora, and I say the social sector. I've not seen that.
I'll come to something I like to ask, but Nana Fredia continues the discussion or say the solution is not a one-day affair.
It's true.
We require a total cultural orientation or reorientation. that will lead to reaching out to all the various sectors, the affiliated institutions, and how they affect children. And then another one here from Nana Hesi Ojiri. Or say, my father would tell us that when they were growing up as children, they baked bread with their mother in Obosomase and went to sell atutu before going to school. Most of our fathers did experience the same as mine. They say that experience has helped shape them to be who they are today. And they make mockery of some of us today as jokers of modernity. This thing about child labor must be redefined in an African perspective. Now, Dr. Kokrokoo comes back. He says, I agree with Bright APPIAH. It's really difficult coming out of such a situation. It takes the grace of God. Now, Bright, maybe baby, whilst we're at it, child labor, mufra, yenyomo, edijani adieno. Kwala wolo require ho. Say. I'll come after that. I mean, kuti near KUSIBOAFO because you kwala bebre o kwa.
Sometimes I dream one mentality say you bet me or my you bet me and trans near giant Kokrokoo abonting. I don't think say any parent as Sebio the Nikum Nemaho would allow that to happen. And I'm saying this because every state, a constitution, even the preamble of the constitution is on welfare. Article 36 and 37, the social and economic development is for the welfare of the people. So clearly, we have defined the state to be a welfare state, even within our constitutional provision. And the principle of welfare state, the states act as a parent. And whatever legislations are or minor biano, it will regulate activities in the country. And now, encourage or memuha. It is not even the decision of parents say, wow, Benji say now, it is the decision of the state to hand over laws and regulations and how you should conduct yourself when you are taking care of Enkwara. Anything as a Owa and as a Onyema, the law requires that Okobeko Hospital near Testo. Once I test you are put on a program. That is the state policy. Owa there are conduct. I say yeah, and sana what to me I can say Osha Korano the way or minor penal. It is so clear say and can say you yankora wa bonte because emra ho say and say so be asra dia wa bonte and say so be dia akora asra dia wo amode nkora asra dia no emra say you have committed a crime
enti ade no bi anchom
omone na mo traffic no bi kura be corner police for gina on so na enkrofo no yes ni omoye no na sabio obiazu ni wa say odi akora si abonte say odi akora no kwa kosre sra dia enti no clearly no there is a directive I see it me this say because there's a social issue the minister in charge of gender should design a program say you better withdraw on shelter into say anka omemu ha no yenya shelters a bit me taking care of the vulnerable people in society. But the worst part of it is Kwame, most of the research I just foreigners at a point 3 years ago no more doso but say no as we speak now young crop for na ba be doso na ye hwehwe mo hu say as a foreigners for no start here no mo hu say kwan no so order no amam for no so hu say no they can make money on the street and you can it would surprise you to know say obi timi kan kwara be 4 5 boom no akwakote dua bi ase na enkwara no sra de na omo diskana abre no. And the simple solution that we can yebetimi ayebeyi enkwara na fi on say aban betu anamo na omo commit crime no baby a esemra ne dan ye de omo to na enkwara no so a yehu say omu ni agya ne na no na say shelter bi wo ho a yetimi de omo kokoto because last 2 years any adwin say 3 years kwa ne adwin sanke ye de kokot say esa aban etimi tu ho anamo but minister no by say omu design program to deal with it but ofi ho no ye say hu hwe enti no ye gusu tu ye hofo okwan ye be fasu bia ye be ma ye nkora na efisa akwan no so no ye be tu sa na mo no.
A few messages were tell Bright APPIAH that some pupils work to take care of themselves in school. Now would he classify that, or how would he classify that kind of labor? APPIAH J in Sunyai. Then this one says, I did social work as a paper at the Premier University. My favorite child labor course was pioneering. In this time of free education, let APPIAH ginger stakeholders to reduce this menace to the barest minimum. Augustus in Swam. David in Texas says, we've been using most developed countries as examples when it comes to child rights. Ask APPIAH if the US has ratified the CRC. If not, why? Kwame, if a parent uses the proceeds of a child's work to pay their school fees, would that be classified as capacity building for the child? Safu Kantanka and Adringana. Yes, Bright says it is capacity building. It is not child labor. Kwame, we must be careful in following what these Western countries define as child labor. I know farms in the UK where farmers use their children to do certain farm work. So, for example, a professional footballer will be sending their kids to a football academy. Tennis players teach their kids how to play and train them to take after them. Is that not child labor? To me, so long as the children get education, I don't mind the child working on his or her parents' cocoa farms at weekends. Kwejo Ahodo, Scarborough, UK. Bright APPIAH has traveled widely. Where in any of the developed world did he find conditions similar to what pertains in Ghana, which he calls child labor? Let him tell us that one too. Okay, we'll come to Bright shortly. And then this one says, Kwame, an adult is a child who has survived. Simple. This one says, many people don't even know begging is criminal. But that's begging. You probably bring it right. But let's see. It seems Mr. Pierre's submission is more English than I can. Tell him Kokrokoo is a cheap program primarily. Yes, sir, I hear you, Prof. Medase Anope. KUSIBOAFO Brim. Interesting. Then we want for child rights.
I don't know. I mean, I made us na match chief. Titru one more. And then it 2 weeks. Omubeja me na ochida.
Oh.
You know the mania drew so a while be Santi Achmeso.
And Patron Yami Adoma member. Yami Adoma member.
3rd and 4th December.
Oh,
this year.
Amen. Amen.
Nti meda will be asked.
Your mouth shedding so?
Yeah.
Your mouth shedding.
Aye.
Your mouth shedding.
So meda asked. Yeah, na child labor there. So okay. The children was a kokra ni abrewa at the home. Who said?
Oh yeah, ipa. Abrewa ni akokraba.
Akokraba. Nti kofa meta wa breme. Kofa mi bonto breme. Anajo there. O so bua na sebe ukotuja na jobre to nti ye de ya fam na so ni nyina na urade aye adom
enti wo behu ne say na we na child labor
ebi wo ho no mo a na me hu ne sa na me fa no socialization entertainment and ebi wo ho a ya na ye me fe se me ne papa ekohwa adwoku a na ase nso ano a na oyi kɔtɔno no ohwie agu kono no mu a na ɛyɛ me fɛ ana ebi ade na ɛyɛ hu wɔ mu na nso ɔkyerɛ me ne sɛ afidihwɛ na obɛn ne pii na yi wɔ wa obetumi account fidie no ɔhɛda yi me nko a me kwan no ɛmɛn fidie nanum pɛɛ nti me kwan no ba first one some few meters away from where the trap is. A hono chere me se memfa. Se be ya aboa no a wo hyem no. Me di mani ebehu no ansa.
Ene behu no ansa.
Aha. Enti no chere me sa na.
Skills development e bia no no.
Enti ya se fidie no ko akuntu na pagya no ano. Kuntu no so wo height bi. E pagya duru height bi a na chere se eyi aboa. E to form no nso so a ebe ye free wo say the height no was soro pa. Did ye aboa no a uhu pe e ma ho mpepere wo say wanya nam. E wo say okofa saa kwan na wa kire wo no na hu aboa kora o hyemu.
Ebi ana yo.
I see. Ebi ana yo. Enti
okọ na so ko ya attempt aboa no beka wo. So abwanu wuya.
Abwanu wuya obeka wo nti age se onso so wa ba odi be pia no. Debi wo ho a kuntunu mo odi nti wuntimi nyi no. No wasa abafie abeka kire ne se papa aboa no. Mintimi kuntun we die mu oden. Mintimi nko amefom. Eno so wan hwe yie timi bɔ. Ana se uyi aboa re timi fa ho eso wo nso nsafra. Ekotare akure no ho.
And they harmful and they worse forms.
And the worst forms of child labor.
Ne bia basa be fia be bona mane. Ta na ya natie. Nti eye but enokure wo mu bia mahu ni se study countries bebre no. Tamo anu omo wa hu hia nu mu a na ehia wo mo no na child labor wo.
Yeah.
And to moment ya wo incomes improve no na omu yi child labor no e free ho enkakra.
So it comes to the issue that I'm raising.
Yes.
There's poverty.
Nempo Ghana mpo no menyi ni se miami nua kweku menini pa.
Say what
kweku. Ono so ofree mu no ni income ni status akosoro no. Ne ban so be ko that level no.
Exactly.
Ono so be yiri be free. And the story will continue.
The ripple effect.
Yes. And minu also site say honorable as you do get here. And also so when you have been mucha ba na said the OC can no ahunchire omuko mu e bi drop out no. Menyi ni said nanso so no. Also so the same fate.
And as incomes improve, education improves, the numbers reduce.
The numbers reduce. Enti babia almost standard of na kosoro pa no utimi hu se wo mo child labor no so ate ekofom pa ye ya okwa akoda no kura ne determine holiday se ne country way ana mekoso na die way na me pese me hu enti wo mo right ne ye the highest me hu the state of Cyprus tell me o mu develop ba na me wo country ho ye
Cyprus
and I me say na na akase so opeso ko ho tell me no wo mu ye no mu tourism ne ba no a no mu be free here no no up to the time where ba ya o mu free here no mu nyina ma wo mu join ni European Union ni nyina na me ho nti minim say the city
okay
minim say the city na child labor e wo ho e free mu ko no wo mu income no e peja no na fi wo mo ma won higher levels of learning na fi wo ma chase e take holidays afi na wo mo revise wo education afi kura de e wo se teacher ni wo syllabus no kura no e ka ho ba bia ye be me kwan ye nkwala ne be ko holidays a wo mo de be ba be kirew no watimi ama wo mo ba bia wo mo kwa e wo so wo mo nko hwehwe a e be boa wo mo next year wo mo besu enti ka also so homework ya teacher ni obeye no enti afedi enkwala no enije no mo live better ya o mu parents no na minim bebre a obi kura no mpabo a na hye no eto awe me kai man ba ko ana o factory bi a na mkoboa no your friend Claridis ani Kiriagos ono kokohwe a mpabo a no o hye na eto awe nyina na ebi da so sensan edan ho a no oyi kire ne ma se we na na hye me se me maraka se o mu mi enko ebia se be sa fe na Woolworth aba ho fofo enti no o mu ko ho no mu ko pick ntade a o mu pe o mu ko pick ntade o mu pe
sana Woolworth about Cyprus
fe na about Cyprus
Yentini panchini o
enti so o mu ko hunu sa no no bana ne de no wo ho no a na nkwala na pekesa mu peki wia na fe mu ba ya na akobie dan no wo abe kire mo ba bia na sitie wo mo ma jo home nkrofo force ya na emu betugu kronum finfin bi ye fre ho Lepteria Square ho na na betu ne maguma ahiafo ekohwehwe mu ho na no no ko ne de ho ko sisi e ho Lepteria Square ho na kwa Nkrumah and Archbishop Macarius o mu picture no e wo no oba on picture no enti mi ko hwe sa museum no nyina ho na be hu Barnabas ni fie ho no mo so ko ha hu Barnabas wo the term Judas who yi ni free ho do be see na friend Barnabas and the kurubu hot and
Cyprus
to kwa yes o mo be chiro say hot no ni enti ubehu saa na ma no timi hwe din no nam si derby saa dia the biggest solution to this child labor say you be fight poverty you be fight poverty at all costs mo me anyere ye ho ni reduce poverty no ankasa enti saa mra bie no ho a wo be hia e be ye adwuma eye hia wo mo ho a se malifo ene ayifo yi a wo mo bai obi a wo hwe no a either center kwa bi na atu na free ho ana hia ekom na de nenam ene obe yusu akoda no ono no osra de a ne ho be ye mobo etu ope Barcelona Jesse any Chelsea yesterday be interview o say sa Jesse no na sha yeta ma osika Barcelona ni Chelsea ni AC Milan na Ronaldo ni Messi enso de no no mo pe so any Pogba na o mo she didija kwa ho na je nkrofo ehu o mo mobo eye oman be ebe kono ni mu ejina ye ma no esopa enti so hwe na se child labor no kosra the me study of my input that is the litmus test enti na free education you know aba introduce ya no manage ho pe you know say obi enko bi na fe yan hwe ade obi enko bi
and you free say education is the key
education the key e ba say be bie nipa nani emfa ho ni adwuma no ana ne papa ye no me papa de me wura afuo mu ekoko sa mfom no bebre no ena me nso me ye bi but I am better
Exactly.
I am better abenu anu o ma me wo no yi no me ama do mefuo ni bia me wo oil me a me yi me ngo me yi me the machines na ye gare processing ba nchi no ani ekotu de be ye no ma ye gare processing ni bi enkukọ no atwa wo behwe na wo kire na wo sano anaje wo medai kokrokoo akukọ no wo he kokrokoo ya mo bonwi wo be pam no a no watu na wo sano wo hu se de esitie ni nwan ne saamo abo re nyina no me so ma fe kwan ebia me fa so eye mmoa no a eye beta ajokuo no a no wo de me namu epuno bro me so be ye fish pond me so me ye bi say bia ni nua no se nso anu anu okoyiyie no ne saa niema no anu oye ni nyina na ajukuo some ani kono some a na nkotogumo no ye tomire bi kura na ayisu wo no ene no me so me fish pond an improved form bia nkanye education no ye mesua a lot about it say wo say be change free me papa die no na anya saa da bia me man so ebe suffer the same fate
as you did.
Yes. Enti sa ane adia edikan enti sa wo mo entimi anyi wo mo ho amfiri mu through education I move to higher levels of income I engage wo mo ho in a very fruitful engagement bi no and learning skills bia no child labor no ma wono be ye akọwinsafo ma wono be no nubone no ye sa ne ma ni nyina no wo mo ma na be ye west form ekra ye west esene wo mo sese Komoma na west esene wo mu se enti enum bom no na ye nhwe emrofo no hu sa antem na wo mu ye se da bi ohia nye sa ne ma ne nye enti ye mfa nhyehyɛ ye mra na wo mu hya ase na wo mu de hard work obia sofa sa yi ne bida enu ti se wo mu kai book Oliver Twist no Charles Dickens books na mu tro ye ne
Great Expectations
Child Labor Robin Hood no any ade kenkan ye ne nyina David Copperfield on mu nyina ye sa niema ni bia fa Child Labor ho ene niema a course Oprah Winfrey kano stories upon stories ya the fa Child Labor ho ene said there na niema si koso na bra bonso nya enso no so nya breakthrough no me gidi say wo mo so be di na kire ne nyina so nya breakthrough ni bi sa na tie ento o mind there say we improve na we improve our income mu na resources ye fairly distributed na nya say ye skilled na nipa kakra bi na enya dia eya dia nia na the policies ni programs papa ba obie no ho chiri fo asem pakodo obie no ho sen ka ne ba no no de wo so asota no de nam awia kete no no na oye eye hia no a family no entimi mfiri mu for a very long time ene bi aka nkwala no nti bebre kura be sore no na panimu mu a na da ne de obedie no ehye akwala no effort no ene obedidi afiri
exactly
obedidi afiri sakwara na entimi ansere sika no amfa ama da no onu pani no onidi enti ono no na adwuma no sakwara no ankoye sa adwuma den no a sakwara no ebi apani no ono soso onidi anase bibi etisa eti me de we munya na mra no ye aban na ye bi wa try in all forms wa boa policies and programs are there ba most of them propose ya ye nyina ye di ye ni ehu Rwanda no more similar problem no more similar fate na me call na me ko busa say some countries ya ayi amoho ma me hwe how because omo de enka wasanka omo worst form of child labor esen ye cause omo worst form because omo income levels no na nuru ye eti be ko hwe ye no akora bi e na mo nkwa ho a osra de a na otonwa de ewo ho
ewo Rwanda
ho Kigali because ne nam Kigali e ho ko hwe na mbusa se eye die bentira na megidi se bi ba ha ya me so meje di se ebeboa ye simply because se ohyase a otimi hu eti nkwala ni nyina no no abubo cage me hu saban ahyase pesa fi odi biba eno ama enkwala ni nyina enkokọ pa na omo yen wo mo ewo fie nti akora bia wo nkokọ a wo ye na wo fie ya wo bre na aduane a saa nkokọ no nti ubehu no akora no timi nya akokọ a obetimi ayi kosua be 1 crate abeton ya ne ton no so ho value chain no so ho onu anu abidi no onu asoso ye den ton bi eti da kro no 1 crate of kosua na akola no betimi ayi no ebetimi aso no ene men ketinketi bia ehu hia so obeba begina lorry kwa ho to identify every child etu be kono crowd ketinketi no ubon say cages ni sisi hwa enkwala na ewo ho no obiye ene mpanimfo no so ahia wo mso no wato nantwie wo de start nantwie be 5 million ene wo tema wo mo ne mpanimfo no so no ahia mo no mo so no emwa no wo ho ene obi ade ewom enti ebechi ne milk ya na milk ne ya we na won so ya pe kakra ma saboa ne wo a first one ne age afri wonsam second one ne age afri wonsam ne asan ya de akwa hia ni fofora wono so na ebeto hia no mu afrafra chire kono na omo wo kono na ya wodia enti me kwa na ma bibi nko a wokura 25 na ntwie no nko a no 25 de wanya no na chese wa free hia mu o enti omo lip no enye de bosumi bia ya de kwahihye nkrofo bi nsam se omo ni enti as government no I was here revisit the lip system no a ya de aba no na yen hwe ni remodel lip system no na sika de all the share depends more he will be forever lazy
because they be or chain mo abre
he will be forever lazy but say wo hwe now the system be ba ma me ya wanya na ntwe be 25 ni kunu susu enya bi entu be hwe family no mo no ano family no na efre o mo ahiafo no and they are getting about 40 o ma free hiamu no ano no ya da bia ye bechi wo mo milk de ko ema onu no kura mobile phone na maame no de da no wonya ye no ya chi milk no ama aba beto so say ye chi wo no revenue ni nie ehun expenses no so enie enti wo this amount abeto account kona koyi ya utimi hu say na mibusan say to convert sa Rwanda ayi de bemwa it was just around $15 to $20 a day.
But that's a well-structured country.
Yes, it's well-structured, yes.
Yeah, India are extremely loosely structured. Because, say, Brighter Pia no medjuma omuye. Any other NGOs edjuma omuye with.
Yes.
And kolani adia. And the fact that begging at the yesadi okwankwana a criminal offense.
That's a criminal offense, yes.
But obi anya wonhwe e na ye den kola so na ye sisi. And I can say almost Manchester United jersey. And your mom can say. So that is exploitation. Exploitation.
Exploitation.
Ain't it a criminal?
It's criminal.
A degrading. Just say.
And akwada no
so still.
Ba ku bi so me ano de me ana me hu no wa makom no osre skadibi furani no osre. That was in 1986. Entina me bi na me beton banche ento ono kura so mu boa me ma banche me duro no taxi no bo me bo no me de kwaso ase no na ne bo no edi ntimi bufu se me ameso a ento ono ne so me mu so a me ntimi huin na ase nani ba ko aye eyibi wanya mark bia me nani ba ko no ye no obae no osresres skani bi onyini ye no wanko no krom
no be da ko
2009 Mikosunai prison ni achia kwai as armed robber. Yes. Yeah, what ma call robber will between Sunai and Techiman. Ami didn't go to prison. Ya jailing 15 years for robbery. I said 2009 there. Say
15 years
Oyaba. And you tell me me ya no na me say wo de me new. Unim Kumase no was say ai. Koko kama. Ya hu no adama o beka so free Mali no me na bae. Enti nkwala no a eba ha no. How do we trace them whether they have indeed left the nation?
And what future?
What future do they have?
Because as you said, no bedania kronfo.
Danka.
Omo bedania kronfo. Armed robbers, yes.
Atiagum. Kakra bi na beya wo me bese sensika no. Wo mo na ye dollar trafficking, currency trafficking, money laundering.
Yeah.
Kakra bi no so mahu bia, o sresre ya no afei no ot ya laba, ese sensika.
Omo man no kran kran.
What we say the city.
Kran no mo ye man.
Very good.
Omo kran omo de mo aware without any trace.
Yes, any trace. Eti yetimi hu say
just say we are building a potential criminal group in a future.
There were ya de wo mu ni say obetra we no kura no ye illegal. And say dollars no what sesa. Eti ye kan samramafo ogu an wo mu sesa dollars. Samramafo a exit plan for beggars. Ya wo mu buy as youth. Parents have died or they have left them. Or they are in the rooms. Yeah, timi omaya incapacitated o manyini. Yeah, timi mpie biemu and almost re. And chese womu go to say woma ba omo dot so ye. Enuti and na wo say ye hwese as a nation no nya bibia na wo say authority.
Exactly. No.
Nya bibia wo be hwe no fa kase no anu aye ye de ne de aso tato na sika no pa sre ne de. Foreigners na do so more esne Ghanaians. And a fe na de omo ba with attack. We ya na wo car. We ya de kiki ya de be paper ama. You be you say. Ebe duru mre bi no. Na ya de a hadwen. Ebe bi akwa bi bo midin wo traffic mu pa san kwala ni bi. I was shocked. Obo mi din so mi new.
Aw ni wen.
What's one name me Kumase? No stress bi wo Kumase na anya yie and wa ben cry.
Oyamshe o.
Me yamshe me.
What? Obowudin.
Obowudin.
Yeah.
Hey, ni TV pesa a chinchim any ade na no ya shitum. Said the SIA no na tade o dware ye kro tum se ache yie woni ba bi papa da skin no kra nye. Any ade na me kura me de me ka kire de say me hia sa adwuma no service no person offer me no what me new na me so ni me ya wa bo me di na me say ya uni was Kumase and one na kasa radios and I'm saying
are you joking
na me say and was say and I'm say hey sir was na me ye bi wo amakom na about to na e ho na emfa enti no ma ba
Enra when we turn on the feast they go on Spintex Road. Na me the traffic area be 3 o'clock. Na a rebi ko omo ye mienu maba mienu. Omo te 4x4 bi ma a teacher. Na boys here a tonton ade okwan se ne awukan ya on paper windscreen no ma be gu om boys mean ha many nka omo be 8 or 9
yes usually not number no
na omo gu car no and because omo light skinned women no and a car no so e car teacher into they are attractive ono mu nyina kugu omo me hwe mu din so boys here attacking my where what happens
yes
and all they were doing is say omo fans almost some scar but my friend their glasses were rolled up but me say if they attack them now on bedding because traffic now boaning bumper to bumper you know here chairman has to green yako I am sure
yes
I am sure
I be kura no a e bedroom rebi no say be na die ubedie bi ama wo mo kakra binti wo mu nye nuru age a ompeso wo mo ware no what you say wo mu duru sa critical age no akore ya making say wo no be me fan say 19 20 17 18 19 20 hono eto beduru critical age bi a say wo mu so e make family e hono wo hwe na nhwe a no de takashi na fe ne din no de beduru brebi kura no no otimi ball glass
yeah
eyi bibia ope usi form obetimi abọ attack enti ame ho no se mi duru ho a me hwe me hu so yi
yeah
enti so hwe mo a ya ne a aban ye wo mu ya ye bu man we have a Herculean tax enya politics samukura enu kwaze edidi agro something real we are only deferring a problem and we are massaging the problem
deferring and massaging
yes the reality is say a time will come ebi ani enyinyini need too many resources again to do it say ya emre wo ho no e wo say yetimi define critical purposes for such people na omu entimi nye enfo omu ho enkonkonkochim se be ya ye be reduce number no na ye improve the well-being of the people.
And our bright can say education is helping.
Yes.
And
no we are education we are the next thing ebe say availability of jobs. Because education also so yes an yakon yen ka say enkwala ni bi wo ho a ewom say bi de wo mun sabe ye adwuma binum besu adwuma vocational education wo ho abanye ni ba ho mo by the end of the day a free bear 2023 econo ye benya explosion of graduates completing universities because of free education no abanity abeka unemployed youth no obi kura de ebe 5 years ni and we try adwuma no and wo ya enye up to now e kire won say number ne be san kura a triple in the coming years enti e wadwuma kese e die so what's the year enti de bibia ye bia yen double your effort no yen double your effort
but right picking from our discussion going forward, child labor, KUSIBOAFO, so at the different angles, Abano. Bibi, I may preach a lot on this program, and I'm a say they can start attacking people in traffic physically. Misro say Niamejeno Abebaso. I have a who's a man kind of bro, premonition. It's a similar so one day there will be a shooting. Ebia you know a lot of drivers now have guns. Nipa be the trash on one driver. And a boy sleep so one day they will attack somebody and that's be twice a car so. I'm a nipa na abobitu okwa. And I say me who young boys your more a twegu car issue. Say nipa na ne kan ni yam hye no a obetumi adi kan atwa fom so ana say so ye armed a open me on YouTube because it is dangerous. It is scary. Hey, Prof. Akwa try the FNW. And then now we wanted to start the discussion with you also on increase in suicide cases among young people, but we may have to look at it again. Ebia Yawada and Abibi.
No problem.
But this issue about child labor, any bright appearing fears here. You were busy in TB, I know when you're crying in TB. But on my statistics, aftermath of World Child Labor Day near there, no patch say even though 1 out of every 10 children in Ghana is engaged in the worst form of child labor. Osama Yunkranche say Esan is school kunti. I say the numbers are reducing and there's improvement. Even though some improvements issues to that so.
Okay.
I believe Mr. APPIAH misquoted, right? I haven't misquoted you. Okay. Prof, when are we psychologists? I don't know what you make of all of this. I to say.
Yo, come and see. Now, Michelle, Bright, thanks for the good work you are doing. Bright, dear, child labor. I say sometimes this nation we are gifted with people, but in time for expert, I don't be brave. Okay, travel. Not just say the can shitty.
Some.
But I think Bright's been doing a good job and he's been very committed to this thing for a very long time. And I mean that is professionalism.
Yeah.
And yeah, Okura Owa Kuma Oya Unjai. Wouldn't where you are heading towards. Now me tea many opinion analysis not deeply. Anyway, now come doesn't make you about 4 statements on this. If you are saying free, say no Oshe said what's a Bright analysis now.
Yes.
Free SHS and then the interest in schooling Emma numbers no cost. The next question we ask ourselves is say when you are eco school no we are what next?
And
I KUSIBOAFO
meaning penny yes. And to be PM the eco school. Come current statistics actually say if you look at the numbers I churning out of universities when we are only 10% in a year will get a job. The 90% may take them 10 years to secure a job. And to be many of you say, what do you want first school? You are only massaging, and to borrow his words, you are only deferring, challenging, and solving area.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've also reflected on it. It's a problem. So, one it's hard. So we want to say akora and nam banchiri nam kurumuna. You won't see it. But so be an nam say akora nam sadi. But how do you now come me say when a nation does not plan for its young ones, they unwittingly prepare themselves for potential criminals in the near future. Now the thing say, if I say generational planning and generational mindset. Some time ago, now you need 2 years, 3 years, and that's your age.
Yeah.
Until Obrana Yaboko enim, now Boko enim no. Now she share the next generation. Until we share Abrabono, whether you like it or not. If you say man, you are planning for them and for their future. And the interesting thing is this, which is why you are also concerned. There is a certain symbiotic relationship here. That younger generation and the older generation term.
Yeah.
And we can never run away from that. And then I mean a day is coming out. Here to me hey. One umbu ye jamo to mo jejemu woman na ebe say. Omen eduma wo ye kwame obi obetna abaye. Na de meye no obi so beye. De bright ye no obi so beye. The many opinion ye no obi so beye. And the question is, why now what a prepare for it? It appears say yekosa. Na Ghana de bright to bear me out. Come here, cast policies a party. We have a policy farm in this country. Policy.
Baby.
Hey.
That's a brofu de him chopper.
Hey, so when you come I say, baby, come colon they account you the best share will be an ammo. Come what we lack is what I call implementation zeal. Anyhow, say yashishe bribia to say yebe A B C D. Na wonga ebe implement it. Oh, okay. Emfa. And that's where the challenge is. Come na me can say me study bi. Na study no if no study a ye share a crowd. No ma menyam 7 months in the womb. Now, you're sharing from that stage while the child is in the womb until say according to 5 years. Now, that was why I share from the 5th year now to about when the child is about 15 years.
Okay.
Now, so those designs are called longitudinal studies. Now, the FCH say, you see who a dear near ma and a crown where you more a canon. The prana, you say the first thing. Akwanda yem 7 months ekono ipere pa abuse.
Peace FM.
Nations are you compare mo 8 nations no Ghana topped in terms of abuse when a woman is pregnant.
Really?
Yes. Say
hey, are we that bad?
Oh, come never be when you. Now we are no free her. Akwanda say already by 2 years until we are now going we are following them up. You say Sakwano as so far some impairment or one na yemu na onyinia na when you in chia obon say there may be some developmental difficulties and tibia his speech is impaired the nantie a mantem afi na dwene or be adwuma no so na ho atochima and ye di omachia until say wo medi by 15 years now the entire say we are also interested to look at a kwanya omofa so hihye omatenka emotions, suban, and a pra self-harm, upra horror, a war and mufremu, imprimpre organa. Say we send last me can we JHS for we 10 emu 3. The year and they attempted to kill themselves.
Wow.
10 we 10 3 out of them.
3.
Oko SHS we 10 2. Oba University we 10 about 3. And to make us say, yeah, the largest study on young people and their mental health presently in Ghana. I see a share. Then what are the drivers? Now come here for the past 8 years now. I pick a few things. A year keeper. Now come let me say me tell now some time ago. I never quit big keeper for young people, self-harm, suicidal behaviors. I hold the organ ha increase no. Bako academic difficulties. Say school or co school na this year at the same ne performance at the same teacher ni o chena de no ne kasa to akra no at the same teacher ni bi e ka chena akra bi say you amount to nothing ampa or struggle ya beyond SS na ohunu ho no until say a new teacher came in to work on the child. And the academic stresses say on yandi. Now come here, discuss I didn't know that. Say Ghana, any a place say enkra encha. Me fan say bia SHS. You ask yourself, Bebriana encha no ehen woko. Where do they go to? Now ya dwene ohun say won encha no then eyomo. I was the first part of the first batch SHS, 1986.
Yeah.
85, 86. Me year group, no, we're about 66,000 nationwide.
66,500
in the past year. In Kafran. Oh, and it appears
66,000.
Yes. In Kafran,
minus 1,500.
University in Kafran, where did they go to? Bebre. Yes.
Try
you create
over 60,000.
You create a bank of potential liabilities for ourselves as a nation. Now, you go ye nimuno. Instead of me, can it's a kura. I also umia. Now this your five news a pumpunu ase. Na a paya. Oh, and it baby I kono. I was see a ship a real plan. I'm making kind not bright actual. We need a real plan for young people. Now, in one paper, obi one low and middle income countries are all one, especially West Africa. Say, come and say, Africa has the youngest population on earth.
Yeah.
And we are moving. In fact, West Africans are the most mobile people on earth. We move. And what is happening is, why are we moving? There's a problem. And how long would we want to be moving? Na yema ebe osi so we are pesameko. We are pesameko. Ya can't brain dream wasem. Ya can't. Young people are unable to stay here and work.
Is it governance? Is it leadership?
It is all.
So
it is all.
Prof, as I ask, solutions. I say, Ajin Semo.
Come here, Semo. Look.
And I say we are not directing our thoughts.
That
in solving
is the point. Come here, Opa. Yeah, my brother and mom policies are a good home. About fragile labor. I used to work with is that ILO? No, it was a UN for now they wanted us to train counselors on children who find themselves in worst form. Yes. And we did a training for counselors across the country. The idea is that, in fact, you implement that project now. This was as far back as 2007.
14 years.
Me make a show. Yes, that a taste microphone. Echromo. To say my friend Kokrokoo growing areas. One idea more quarry. Now almost here. One idea more fishing. Kwame, yes, I'm training now. What has happened? And see, for me, the challenge is that our policies, no, we lack the implementation, the zeal to implement it anyhow. Number two, policy behind how implement your own challenges. Who meet the challenges? Naturally, say policy no, and you address the challenges. We are not addressing them. You meet the challenges. Now, if I go out to the Jemupa or Krumha, and Memuha, and they say, come here, I worry, young people. Plans bend ye word mom. And my friend Nam, if anything street me. Ujina Nami who's a credit crass second, I'm not on second in the evening, Ukra second autumn. And the me also Rasheba me so say, oh, the second lecture me, or brand the say, Brady. Now,
how's your ton second?
Oh no, Ukras can or brand the say. Say, a to say Kim. In psychological science, yes, it say obi ni ade bia e chechere no ntia obeka say ensese mede me ho ewura employ bi mu a. They are the people who pick cudgels and knives and machetes and guns first.
And Pastor, me about 1 minute. Cudgels and knives and guns and machetes first. Minia Elvis Darkon, I will find a newspaper. In Commander Naubon, or say over the last 5 years. Between 70,000 and 150,000 SHS students did not qualify for the university.
Okay.
So, your baby sir, way.
Come 50 70,000.
70 to 150.
150.
Yes. Over the last 5 years. Now, a rabbi to say East Legon, Emmanuel Eye Clinic, because our boys were some giant. I've heard your mother from her. Some says you scan so mama, no matter from her. Ain't you so green? I how the car be function.
So what is wrong? Come in. The solution.
Meba, mami kwa humano. So once I make a Spintex Road be asem. Tunnel and Ra said these boys were harassing some ladies. Be now. Obisi or with the set up. He wants to share quickly his experience. Your friend James Bugri. James, about here.
Hello, Kwame.
That's the thing.
Hey yo, now so.
Nyamene hene yegusu. Na, ose eno how far tana na zibi.
Kwame, I'm me partner na sinra. Normally I am call airport sales on Sundays.
Okay.
Me MPT honte ana me tako ekobuano on Sundays so on errand in kakra obey. Intinra me call ena ebo besi 8-9 mo of PM was na me beshi. Me banu me realize it so me key up from me come back. Me do tunnel for front now, my bay under bridge or East Legon here. To be worse, yeah, Meko. And I mean, say, near me realizing, say, Nipago, the Spinter side or back East Legon side. In fact, me see me. Because now you use motorbike, and anytime so why wouldn't you motorbike for your Namokai in Fin? In simple for the way I must say, but me and him, let me say, name call and say, and answer me call and say, because now, my neck careful, man, me the best face oncoming vehicle. Deny, and I mean, say, car be unregistered, nay, Benz C class for your baby, and I mean, say, car deny like traffic, no, a slow down, and a boy see a baby. What they normally do is say, so move car very expensive, black me. Car it up a normal that bonnet also. Near Diagina side by side. You know, Nipana what car has no option, say, car no, restaurant SSA traffic mover or also a movie. Intinra, can it just how would you move car no sana? And I mean, after I realized, say, those boys now, Mujina, traffic no paper we see no.
Yeah.
And so the guy in the car was a little bit serious. He doesn't know whether to move the car, open his gate, and answer the visa, or slow way no, the whisk and the mirror on Kakra, and was shouting, go away, go away, go away. But only Pan accent now, you could see that he's not a Ghanaian. He's not a Ghanaian. Nipanian Shino. The time na traffic ni move here no. O move that me. Obey or the Befa boys so. The boys too were not ready to allow the guy to move. And then the man observe one also say me. Boys now omo gina we no. Ebi ni mo kita nyoma na ye dey paper windscreen na ni no.
Yeah.
Which a weapon. Obey they are proud.
Yes.
Ebi kita sikan. Ebi ni mo kita continue back say dia omo kwako fight obi. Ena ni enye kura ne say me.
Yeah.
Emma edi omo agi ade no. Endo ne enye memu anko. Now to say young girls at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15 no. I spotted about 6 to 7 omo dina mu dia. Me. Omo yese eduma no. The little I wanted to contribute to your program, they say, the authorities must do something about it. The whole thing is no more begging. It's becoming more or less a criminal activity.
Yeah.
So we jai the whole thing. Kwame, because Endra incident that we witnessed here, no, it wasn't daytime. It's between 8:45 to 9 o'clock more fun.
Enyumre.
Enye daytime, Kwame. Daytime. Enyumre. Ebana sanu, omochi, obianti means cinema. One side, I say, no, Obia just like that. Yeah, you get a motorbike, and so yes, boys. Obian to him, Wapapano. Young funny says that the brother, no, at that moment, Okita Tua.
Yeah.
Then obey.
Anyway.
Obey defending him.
You have no choice.
They were harassing the man. They were not begging him. And to know me, they make a program, no one say, young country, the authorities. No munji boys in people kakra.
James Medasi. James Bugri and Moten in Kase Ordine Adventure Eba Meka Spintex Road, especially Tanan area Huasemno on our share near Onsunya and Enyumre. Yenya Baku David Amofa Edin Krebi Aba. I'm sure Prof Ne Bright, it may interest you or say Kwame. I studied and researched on this matter in the UK. It's called the African Youth Bulge. We're sitting on a time bomb. I formed Arise Africa Youth International 1 to advocate for the 4 E's, which are primarily education, employment, entrepreneurship, and engagement. What you're discussing is a very sad situation It requires the help of all now. We need to create a safe and better future. I'll pass by one of these days for us to have a discussion. David Amufa, we're Chelsea football fans. No money say David Amufa, Chelsea big time. For sending your media is interesting. Maybe we should look at this thing completely from. Kwame, what your caller just said is true, and the timing was 8 to 9 p.m. I witnessed the same thing last Saturday. These guys were in a Range Rover and were heckled and harassed the same way around the same place. Kwame, I did see these young people as well yesterday under the bridge harassing a Nigerian number plate vehicle around 2:30 in the afternoon. We've been talking about child rights and we've dovetailed into child beggars and the criminal army we are consciously unconsciously forming on our streets. So yeah. Asymmetry. Let me take the last round of comments. I'm sure this conversation will continue sometime soon. Right. Any other comments? Yeah, ever points this year.
Kwame, that was a pass where you this particular subject and then you could also see around it. People are so much concerned about it.
Yes.
Now, for once, I am a papa on political issues. We need to discuss social issues.
Share. KUSIBOAFO.
Politicians, but do tell more political issues. They also look at the social component of it because they're very, very important. Now, he made a suggestion. Say, LEAP program. No?
Yeah.
I saw me a representative LEAP program. No? Because I can't. To the point that Nanga DFID person can research be on it, but I'm so. But Mestre say they have to look at that LEAP program now because your nature needs to journal. You know, baby, Obegaso discount movie, Obegaso made the Korea the corner this kind of mame. Or no, Gaza be redefined or no any priorities, not this kind of share LEAP program now. And maybe so I'm in the age mapa anti ya pepra mekuji.
Yes. Mrs. Dapenino no.
I was even kind say knowledge poverty so idea ehun hia pa because ebi wo ha sabi nimdie nipa nimtino ama omutu anamobi. But na me be conclude ni say the economic empowerment na ye penny na we should also know say social development must go with it. Say have a very good economic indicators and we don't deal with the social problems now. Baby.
Yeah.
Into your best say yentu anamwa ebetimi aboa ma yenkora fa hudie edimwa ye ho betoy na yaya research be all over the country. Ye bisa enkora title require Ghana through the lenses of children, the present and the next 20 years. Now, you better launch a report on exactly a week today, next week. Now, you are carrying a life. Prof. Invitation and crossover.
Oh, I'm a number.
Bravo, message where the mefa videos with their strop. Also, invitation and crossover.
Mati.
Nampacho, more now report, ehun kakra. And you know, message say you bet me do one bobo na ya pebe bidi encourage na. The encourage ya or minus be
Mati. This one says, Kwame, there's this guy who is known to me, and he's well known in the East Legon place, especially the Emmanuel Eye Clinic area, plus the tunnel. On 2 occasions, he calmly put his pistol on his dashboard when they began to hassle him. Kwame, they've never come close afterwards. They shout to themselves, Papa, we know what you know, and they move away. Papa, we know what you know, and then they move away. Patty Dav says, we're no longer taking child labor seriously. Bright, keep up the good work. It's from Patty Dav to you. KUSIBOAFO, closing comments.
But that's it. The other can say, "Many are my idea." Who say the more kind, the more young, and the feed into your policy, the policy. say the old Tressa no one where ya obi na bɛka akyerɛ wo mo deɛ na mo ka ne sei na me nua wo ka sɛ me nso me reading mo report ne bi ba na me nso me fa bi efa mu aba na edi tu abanfo aban bi no a ochiri ana oboro afutu so ubu mindset deɛ na wo hyehyɛ nneɛma sɛ deɛ na figures no ɛyɛ sɛ deɛ na reflect the well-being and the health, especially the mindset of Ghana for new youth from our own.
Yeah.
And Kalana Green, and it was said, ye pa Ghana Dutch, and no. So, programs no crowd, and the bay year agent of COVID. A bain bia beba, obeja unfinished business, near the Nipa and a best art to us, actually. You a Nipa, a friend Nipa papa, or that green no yen she pa. No susu dija enchirima amemwo eye baton e wi asset na ye baton any hand it over generation bia hand it over at the next generation it is a what kind Dante Alighieri inferno na you know the all can say heaven okra judgment day yesu mre nyame mre generation bia bebua generation a woja no ho ana wo beto no for enti ye ize kura enti me na mejeje me papa me man so bejeje me
na de twa
na no so bejeje me a me so me ma na me papa nso ajeje me nana enti ye ize kura nya de obi e bebre enti se ye beko heavy a ejina judgment ya generation a ye ja wo mo ho no
e de be man
ye bu man yi a ejina wo mo judgment so omo my and clean sheet ya meje ni said that yan so osura hima mu okra
so it's primarily the legacy will live.
Yeah, legacy ye beja enti eno a na ehia me na maka se minum se problems no so aye ka no menua mo so mo nam ya mo launch report mo launch na bibi wo mu na mo de afutuo so aka baby a collective responsibility kane na papa bi wo mikuru mu a na efre no kopon opon no on kyerade de onye teacher bi so na na wura fie bia mu se akoda bia afirifie ye den
eco school
na wo a wa anko no otimi gwa wo ma ansa na wadu school mu wa obeye late wo ti ase no o tekwa no so udwane a no wa twotwo din no de akoma teacher for ni se akola we na nko oba na ohunu se wa ye late no udwane enti oba e kyena mo mfa nhenu na punishment o mo mfa ma no enti mere bia no enka se ye obi de o ya kan ye de gu aban so aban ba be so mu aye ene aban no ni aban no o we are bi o man bia ye bia no e collective responsibility ye nyina ye kokeka na ye dibo mu aban no de ye ni amoto abama ye ne de a few individuals be na ya to abama ye ne aken wa boma ye frɛ ye government no the bigger government is in all of us and your contribution yeah ye de be ma oba no and only a frɛ no the bigger government and the government is now all encompassing and yes Akufo-Addo and it's some few individuals where you are e bia meme KUSIBOAFO me ka ho no ye nko na de so ani nyina no ye de be so yiti yes ba ko eweri a iku.
It's bigger than that. Nyamisha also no contribution and pay and a bright so officer or politician person is we a social animal now Kokrokoo abrewa baneti hono. But Obi Susu Diaba Kofi say if we fail to take care of these kids on the streets today, we will not sleep tomorrow. Very aptly captured. If we fail to take care of these kids on the street today, we will not sleep tomorrow. And idea back when me back on say Oshe a bibi memo, especially West Africa. Send here your issues with security. I remember you issue more. Remember ya okay, Charles Taylor Award for the Sanko.
Yes.
I remember Nkola. Yes. Where and I'm say we are unconsciously building a criminal army that is just waiting to be deployed. Because I'm you Omuni hwie.
Oni aim.
Oni aim.
Oni aim.
Ana oni tema. No ni abada bi oni hwie, oni responsibility.
Me papa kokra say, me person me ba KUSIBOAFO ye chartered accountant. Obede de makoni number bi say.
Exactly. Inti omni na nam ho no. Se obi etel machi. Edi tuhwe omsem anase kan. Se fresh car bi a baby bia mo de mo pai tai no. Ome.
Because lack of purpose in psychology, as I say, lack of purpose will be only baby a nanisisono. It opens you up to any engagement.
Yeah.
And he said, "Baby, ni wa what do we nisiswa? Maybe aba now the chi." And he there and the come here humpa. Now,
and as they say, no one find object be said, Obi Nama Womu.
Yes.
And that person
Yes.
is a target.
yes, and it's an externalizing behavior.
We are under siege.
Seriously. It's an externalizing behavior. So if you say blame you be pa danger about. But come quickly to add this. Come on, say in penny honorable can. You bet to me ama sorry so abwa.
Yes.
Say can. I mean, some churches are doing well. Or more NGOs, or more some social intervention programs being idea. Now, or more church and more entrepreneurship. About 4 is a very interesting part: education, employment, entrepreneurship, and engagement. It's very interesting. And you know, someone may be a warrior if they are engaged. Maybe they shift to margin basa. And you know, and so to me, as the be in a but I think that. As a matter of urgency, I think we need to clear the street a little bit. Now the current, you can say, the Osha Greater Accra, I can say,
Henry Quarter.
I think Henry is doing so well. The Osha and OC clear other areas near there. On for income. Henry is a social interventionist. I remember say some time ago, no, yeah, I'm not MPO. I was so.
Oh, that's your MP. MP as a central.
Or invited me to my schools and walk home.
Okay.
To do a program. Yeah, you're very, very socially minded on some of these things. And I'm not surprised that Osha the way areas B. Okomadina, so we just now. She say, and what now? Because Nipa traffic home it creates a lot of problems. And we need all of these things. Say, it be to me, a clear street. No, if you say you're implementing policies, you're in vocational training, so a muma.
Oh, hold on, someone TVET.
Yes, you're in control.
TVET
immigrant are eba. You're in control. It's a big issue. What if I say we did? You're entertaining her. And to come, I believe say it's not out of our hand yet. Now, say a trend, you're saying you not absolutely captured it. If we fail to control them today, we will not sleep tomorrow.
Yeah. If we fail to control them today, we will not sleep tomorrow. Obi say akwano yusu tuno, or say good for the guy with a gun. But unfortunately, that is what may trigger the acquisition of guns too by these roadside harassers, quote unquote. They may decide to match those with guns, barrel for barrel. And then, where does that take us? Let's think deeply about this. Deeply. Studio man pay Bright APPIAH Executive Director, Child Rights International, Professor Joseph Asafo, Head of Psychology Department, University of Ghana, Legon, and Nora KUSIBOAFO, CEO Public Sector Reforms. Prof, you be the uncommon. And the Prof will fear them.
Catch me, Anna Ubi Ante.
Yanko Yawadana.
No, Musumu.
Na Yawada Bantem, dear. Say Yawada, but say a increase in suicide cases amongst young people. And our parenting. You remember we had a conversation about parenting. Also, school be anywhere tell you how to be a parent. Otu chachana sa fa na fa. No. Amfa na fa open ejekum. O se o baboneda. Aye o so ni batete ama. Because e bia utia ye and now mani nyina ko school pepe. Ba ko KUSIBOAFO, ba ko Bright APPIAH, ba ko Joseph Asafo. Inti ye kan se o memema. Oh memema dem. O ma bembe omodem. Just say uti na ye. Inche yo se wo de wo na onim batete ama. But kusiboafo ne class ho no. Akwebu ha no ni mu masen no. It's one So the psychology of parenting
it's serious.
And as I say mebunu beti we akwase no homa. It's I don't know, are we doing something wrong?
Come there can you na.
Esa say ye mu cry ye bre cry you wan.
Yeah can you na.
Yes.
Then where is she or he heading towards? And we are na akwano onya.
Yeah.
All of these things. Some of them are heading into a prepare it be a neglect. Akwano I say atuna jeje musa na akra. E to jeje no about twice likely than Accra enter jeje mu.
Tunnel is too dark.
That's it.
Yeah. That's it. The tunnel is too dark for him.
It's say one obi enemy.
Ain't he? Prof, you're hearing him? Yeah, what do?
Martin.
Oh, now can you?
Into Odro. Chairman account.
Prof, now can you?
Odro for you.
Now, and you say, men can say, yeah, what that Drew Studio had 9:45. Oh, men can say.
I just say, come
say me buku ahead.
Me do before we are there.
Say, nipa na online no dos. It's me buku ahead. Now I say, oh, they clear. Where the buy? And then you find out the other ones. Thanks for a great conversation. Time check is almost 11 in the morning. I gotta go, man. Starting off a brand new week, this morning's discussion. The next year's broadcast is at 12. Kofi Kumbelson is next on your radio. May your day be blessed. May your week be good. By the way, Mintina also may feed you to why? Mintina na mabusum so ajay. Esa asem de mi pia. Me nam soro, me fa fom. Me de kwa me sefa kan. Onyankopon hira yi nyina. Me das yo. Mintina na mabusum so